welcome to Grace My Space. Today I am at the Haven Cottage, our Airbnb, and I am tackling the kitchen. Last year I renovated the majority of the home just using cosmetic updates, and that is what I'm going to do again in the kitchen, the heart of the home. We're going to make some really simple updates that are going to completely transform the way that this looks. And today I'm starting with painting a backsplash. One of the things that really define a kitchen is the backsplash. Now this backsplash is in great shape. There's no cracking grout, the tiles aren't chipped, they're all solid, it was installed well. I don't want to rip it out, but not personally a fan of how busy the pattern is because the tiles are so small and there's so much color variation. So I'm going to calm it down, and it's going to be the first step in several incremental changes that I'm going to make to transform this kitchen. Tile backsplash before. It's a very simple project. It doesn't take long. It's pretty straightforward and it holds up really well. I did it in 2018 in our other home, and now I'm gonna tackle it in here. The first step is gonna be to clean it really well. The prep work on this project is almost more important than the actual painting, because if you don't prep properly, then it's not going to last. Now the first step is to clean your tile, especially if you have tile behind your stove from grease. Now I would normally use TSP for this, but I didn't have any. So I'm using Branch Basics. It has sodium bicarbonate. TSP has sodium carbonate. They sound real similar to me. I'm not a chemist. I'm assuming it's close enough. And then I added a little bit of dish soap to get the grease as well. So I'm just gonna mix it really well and wipe down all of the tiles to start. This step is really important. If you don't do this well, then you're gonna have grease or dirt that causes your paint not to adhere. So I'm gonna actually do this several times. Thankfully, I have a really amazing cleaning woman who cleans our Airbnb after our guest stay. So it already feels like it's clean, but we're just gonna make sure. I've cleaned the whole thing. Now, if you have a glossy tile, then I would recommend roughing it up with a very, very fine sandpaper, like 400 grit, because you don't want to use a really coarse sandpaper and actually cause visible scratches on your tile that'll show through paint. But if it's very glossy, you might want to rough it up a little bit, or you can use liquid sandpaper. I'm using liquid sandpaper. This is not a glossy tile. There's no sheen to it at all, actually, but I do still want to make sure that I'm prepping the surface so that it can actually adhere to the paint. So we're gonna wipe it all down with some liquid sandpaper, and then we're gonna come back through and clean it again to make sure all of this is off of the surface. After deglossing, rinse out your cleaning bucket and make sure you are starting with fresh water and a fresh sponge, one that you did not use previously that might have remnants of your TSP or any dish soap that you used, and clean the walls with plain water twice. This might feel excessive, but it's really important that your tiles are perfectly clean and perfectly dry. So make sure that you dry them thoroughly and let them air dry so that any moisture that was soaked up by the grout has time to evaporate and you're dealing with a completely dry surface. The next step is going to be taping off anything that you don't want to get paint on, and then starting with the primer. Here goes nothing. Nervous. It'll be good. I don't know about you, but anytime I'm about to make a permanent DIY upgrade to something that is expensive to replace if I make a mistake,
I do get a little nervous, but this project is very doable and I've never regretted doing it in the many times that I've done it. Use a high adhesion primer for this project. I do like Kilz. I also like Zinsser and Bin. They all have great high adhesion primers. And you start by feathering in or cutting in all of your edges and then finish with a roller, making sure to cover all of the grout lines as well as go back over your cut-in with the roller as close as you can to remove any brush strokes, and it will give you a really seamless finish in the end.
First coat of primer only is done. Look how much it brightened up the kitchen. So much. And this gives me a really very good visual of what a white backsplash would look like as I'm trying to weigh the color that I want to do in here. The cabinets aren't staying red. There's so many possibilities.
Now they make tile paint specifically, but I've always just used an interior enamel and I think that it works great. This is a door and trim enamel in a semi-gloss.
See that?
Oh, what are you doing?
I'm making it a different color.
Making the wall, that wall different color.
Yeah.
But make sure you do it right there and right there.
Over here?
And right there and
Okay.
right there and right there and right there.
All over the place, huh?
And right there.
Okay, I won't miss it. Thanks for showing me where I need to go.
Thank you.
I will link the exact paint that I used in the description along with a blog tutorial that I've written years ago on how to paint tile with all of the materials that you need linked in one place for you. And this is the color Natural Cream, and I love how it turned out.
And here we have it, a brand new Backsplash for the cost of a quart of paint. Not bad if I do say so myself.
A semi-gloss finish is the most practical choice for a project like this. Not only does it help mimic the look of tile that's not painted, but is also more durable and cleanable.
The next step in this little mini DIY kitchen makeover is toning down the cabinets from this really bright red to a more moody lake vibe. So stay tuned for that project to come, and I'll see you next week.